Welcome to the BBT podcast. I'm Becca.
And I'm Quilly.
We're friends that are just trying to be better together.
Join us to hear about what it's like to be in between Gen Z and millennial identities.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Hi
Hello.
everyone, and welcome to the BBT pod, a podcast with two Asians, Quilly and Becca. And what month is it?
We're Asians.
Asian Heritage
AAPIHM.
Asian Heritage Month.
Asian Heritage Month.
Today we're going to be talking about our Asian heritage and growing up Asian because we haven't talked about that. I don't even think some of you know what our background is. Maybe you might.
Oh.
Maybe
Oh.
if there's some new listeners.
What's our background? My background is a bookshelf. Your background is a
A
wall.
white wall. Pink pillow.
Yeah.
If you're new here, this is a podcast where Quilly and I talk about fun things, learn about each other, learn about the world, and become better together.
Yeah. That's basically it.
Okay, so Quilly,
Yes.
would you like to start us off?
Okay.
With telling us where you're culturally from?
Okay. So I hail from east. The easternlies, the easter winds, the east winds. Okay, you know what I just thought of though? Anyways. You know how like we call it the east and we call here the west, but where is that relative to? It's relative to the UK. Greenwich Mean Time or whatever, the Zulu time, 00. Everything is from there. So it's east and west. But my family
That's true.
came from the east. And within the east, we come from this place called China. So my father. Okay, do you ever have those moments where you're like, I don't know if I should be saying father or mother, or like dad or mom? Do you ever think about that?
Yeah, all the time.
Right? And it's like,
Yeah.
But my dad,
How formal.
right? How formal do I want this to be? It's informal, okay? My dad comes from southern China and my mom comes from eastern China. So I am a southeastern Chinese person. And then, so because of that, I can speak a couple dialects. I can speak Mandarin. I can speak Cantonese, but it's pretty bad. And I can also speak Shanghainese.
And then how did your family end up in the West?
Oh my God. Okay, well, I'll talk about that after you introduce your ethnic background.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, I also come from the East.
Oh my God. Oh my God, really? I couldn't tell. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, guys.
I come from the East, but it's a little bit more complicated. So, my ancestry is from China, southern China. But then my parents and my grandparents grew up in India.
Ooh.
So, yeah, so then we don't speak the popular language. Like I didn't grow up speaking Mandarin or Cantonese. I grew up speaking Hakka, which is a dialect in China.
Fun
So,
fact,
yeah.
my grandma from the southern part also speaks Hakka. She's also Hakka.
Very cool.
Very cool. We have a connection right there. We're basically sisters. What do they say? Sister from another mother?
Sisters from another mister.
Oh, sister from another mister. That's it.
I have some Hakka history if you guys are
Yes.
interested. So Hakka, in Mandarin, it's called 个家. I don't know if you know that.
客家.
Or you've heard 个家.
Yeah.
Yeah. That. So apparently it means guest people.
Yes.
Yes. So they say that originally Hakka people, we call ourselves Hakka people, even though that's like the dialect. It's just like what we call ourselves because it's easier to refer ourselves as that. We're originally from the north, and then migrated to the south, possibly due to warfare.
Yes.
So then that's why they think they're called guest people, because they weren't originally from the south. So they're just kind of like, had to adapt to this new place, new land. So then my family's ancestry is actually from Guangdong. Yeah, they never fully assimilated to the culture in the south. based on this article that I found, they said that unlike other Chinese cultures in that area, they didn't do certain practices like foot binding and other things. Yeah. And the dialect of Hakka has affinities to both Mandarin and Cantonese. So sometimes there's certain words that when I hear other people speak, I understand in Mandarin. Sometimes I understand a little bit of Cantonese because of that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, like a little bridge between the two. And actually, in my linguistics class that I took in university, I learned that Hakka is one of the endangered dialects.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So it's kind of cool. Yeah, so kind of cool that I can speak it. And it's also like if you know one person who speaks Hakka and another person who speaks Hakka, the way they speak it might sound a little bit different, like different accents and things like that. So it's sometimes like you won't understand them per se.
That's super interesting. Thank you for sharing about Hakka history. Oh my gosh, you told me about a local Hakka restaurant that we should try.
There's a bunch of them now, like a lot of them in the area that I'm at.
True.
And like in the GTA, I should just say in general. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. And then also in this area, there's a bunch of people who also came from India. So yeah, the nice little community here. Now, I think most people have left the community in India, and they're kind of like scattered around different places now in like Taiwan, in Canada, North America, in different places. Yeah.
Wow. Do you keep in touch with your relatives from like India?
I don't have many relatives in India anymore, but yeah, we do.
That's good. We have similar yet different backgrounds.
Yes. There's definitely some similarities still.
I can talk about how my family came over.
Yeah.
To the West. I do have some okay, so I did look up a couple articles related to what I'm going to talk about. But I'm going to talk about it first. Okay. So, you know how back in the day when like the Europeans went over to the East for tea to give them opium and all that kind of stuff. They weren't just giving the people opium addictions or or trade. Okay, there was some business commerce going on there. They also brought over humans. So they would bring a bunch of like Chinese workers over to San Francisco, British Columbia, and things like that to get them to work, right? We all learned about a little bit in history class. So apparently one of my ancestors was a gentleman who was brought to Canada to work on the CPR. Not this one, not the act of saving a human, but the Canadian Pacific Railway. So he was here a long time ago on my father's side, my dad's side, and he worked on the railway. So I actually tried to do some research whether I could find the names of these workers. But you know what? I can't find any of them. So that's why people are like, oh, they're kind of just like rumors if you had an ancestor that worked on it or whatever. But I'm pretty sure because I even visited his like site. So it did say here that just in Canada, there were 17,000 Chinese railway workers. Yeah. So
wow.
Canada built the rail line from Pacific coast to coast. And then it was, so between 1881 and 1885, over 17,000 Chinese men came to Canada to work as laborers on the construction of the western section of the Transcontinental Railroad. So that would be like BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan. And then, okay, actually, I was looking at my passport the other day. And then it's very interesting. So I opened up to a page where I had a Chinese visa like taped in, right? And it was so ironic. They taped it on the last spike. You know that famous photo where like some like white guy with a beard is like hammering in the last spike of the CPR.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the photo with 0 Chinese people, even though they basically built it.
Damn.
It was pretty ironic because my Chinese visa was on that page.
Oh, wow.
So I found that was pretty ironic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's not exactly like how I came here, kind of. So we had like a connection, and then my parents, my dad and my mom immigrated when I was young. Because we had that connection, it was easier for us to come over, I guess. I don't know. Something like that. Long time ago. It was like my great grandfather or something.
Wow. That's very, very far back.
It's very interesting. It's honestly pretty deep rooted. Like I could probably claim that I have ancestors here before a lot of the other folk that came.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but discrimination is bad.
Yeah, very. How did you know that?
Oh, actually, yeah.
They worked on it though.
Because
how did you find out?
Oh, well, I'd have to ask my grandpa actually, but we actually have family in Newfoundland and Labrador. So after he worked on the railway, he went there.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where we do have some extended family, and then that's how my grandfather was able to come here.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's puffins there.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a very nice
So yeah, that was a
little town.
piece of history. Yeah.
Yeah. Your family was part of history.
Oh yeah, they were. It's kind of weird to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow. My DNA was back there on the railway.
Whenever you see it back crossing. Like, wow.
Yeah, well, actually I did once. I was in Banff, and then the railway goes past there.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just sat on one side of it waiting for the train to go by, and it took like half an hour.
Wow. Yeah,
Because
it's
it was
so
just
long, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those ones take a very long time.
There's actually a fun thing that I didn't even know existed, dude. So, you know, like the Rogers Center, right? Like downtown Toronto?
Mm-hmm.
Right next to it, there's a monument for the Chinese workers.
Oh.
It's a memorial called the Chinese Railroad. I can't say that word. Chinese Railroad Chinese Railroad Workers Memorial.
Wow, that is a bit of a tongue twister. Railroad.
But you can see it from the Rogers Center.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's like a scaffolding kind of thing with like Chinese workers on it. I actually never noticed it, and I did walk by it, like beside it once.
No way.
Yeah.
I probably walked by it too, and I didn't even know that it was.
It's because it's like right beside like the dip where there's the GO trains and stuff.
Oh, so, that area.
Yeah, so it kind of just like blends in, and you think it's like a railroad thing, which it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes total sense. I just didn't notice.
Yeah, because I guess you don't really spend time like seeing what it's dedicated to, so you just walk by it and you don't realize what it's actually for. Yeah.
Yeah. So lesson learned.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the monuments.
Read who it's for. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about anything about how like growing up Asian American? I mean, we're okay, guys. We're technically Asian American, you know, because America is not just the USA. America is Canada plus the US because it's North America, and technically this was also including South America.
Exactly.
So any Asians that are on this side of the globe are Asian American.
Exactly. Yeah, specific things about growing up Asian.
Yeah,
I
can think of a few. Just to like start off.
Yeah, do you have any?
Yeah,
like specific examples. Really interesting examples. I don't have too many. Like growing up, I grew up in a very multicultural area, so I never felt like too much of like a minority, but I did face certain things with like, because my parents weren't from China, I think I did face a little bit of like I don't know if you would call it like discrimination,
like rudeness, discrimination.
yeah, from like certain people who were from mainland or from other, like, you know, people who were ethnically like had their ethnicity match their nationality, basically, things like that. So yeah, like I remember like this one specific one. Oh my god, like my neighbor, still neighbors with them now, actually, really funny.
Oh, they're right there.
They're still there.
Listening
They're
in on
still
this.
there. They like I went to a different school. Like there's a neighborhood school, but then the school that I went to, all of the kids lived a little bit farther out, so I didn't see them after school much because they were in like a different neighborhood. So then the neighborhood kids in my street, they all went to this like really specific school, so they all knew each other. And I just wanted to make friends with them because obviously I wanted to make friends.
Why would you not?
Right, I'm a kid and I want to go and play at the park with like these kids in my neighborhood, because like who doesn't want that, you know, that nice little bond with your neighbors like we always see on TV. I wanted that.
Yeah.
But
you
then,
want to play hopscotch with them on the street, shoot some hoops,
go bike riding, you know.
Yeah.
Do all that fun kid stuff. But then I think I went up to them, and then they were all like they all spoke Cantonese. And then I went up to them, and then they were like, "Do you even speak Chinese?" They said something. They said something.
Sorry, I swore.
They're like, "Do you even speak Chinese?" And then I was like, and then they said something in Cantonese, and then I didn't respond. They laughed in my face and ran away, and I was like, "Oh my god, I just got bullied." And then I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just not gonna hang out with them.
That's disgusting. I'm so sorry.
I know. I felt so sad, but then it's okay because I was like, it's just an after school thing. I mean, I had friends at school, so it was okay. But
you
yeah.
know what I noticed about like kids?
Yeah.
They're just trash.
Kids are just ruthless. They're say
so
whatever.
mean. They have no filter. Literally. And then the thing is, they don't even know what they're saying. They don't even know that they're being racist to their own people.
Literally.
Like their own ethnically circle. And it's just, okay, dude, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I hope you never have to go through it ever again.
Me too.
It's
Crazy
just like
kids.
Growing up too, like I felt like in between. Like I didn't really feel like I belonged to like Western groups, and I also didn't belong to like the really Eastern groups.
Oh yeah, that too, definitely that.
Right?
Yeah,
like I definitely had an identity crisis. But just wait. Back to the kids. I want to beat them up. Do they still live on your street?
Yeah, like I see them and I'm like, oh my god, I wonder if they know that they bullied me.
Yeah, like they probably don't.
They probably don't realize because like you don't remember saying mean things when you're a kid. But then
you remember when you said it to.
Yeah, exactly.
Like as a person that got attacked.
Yeah, exactly. Like you remember. So I'm like, look at them go, living their lives, working their jobs, not even knowing
dude,
that
one thing
they were
I don't get, or maybe they still are, okay. Well, one thing I don't get is like why racism even exists. Okay, first of all, judging people based on something that's just different from you makes no sense to me. But they just antagonize them all the time. And then again, like what's the point of being rude to someone who looks like you? Like wouldn't you expect that like you'd bond with them in some sort of a way? Like what makes it more superior that you know how to speak your mother tongue? And I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm just really pissed.
It's wild.
Oh well, I hope that they're doing better and that they've learned their lesson somehow.
Same.
Because karma will come around. Trust.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's pretty funny.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that's my experience with them. Yeah, so then in school, like whenever I had to hang out with kids who were also Chinese, I felt like really hesitant because of that.
They traumatized you. Oh my god. Yeah. Damn. Yo, let me tell you about this one time. I got super bullied by international students. Non-Canadians, possibly PRs, not Canadians.
Okay.
This is actually a thing that happened to me in university. You know this story.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it quick. I was sitting there eating lunch. I was calling my mom, talking to her in Shanghainese. Suddenly, these two chicks in front of me, they started shit talking me in Mandarin. They said all this like stuff about how like Shanghainese people are really aggressive and how like all we do is argue, and then they started mimicking. When Western people, sometimes like Western bullies, they mimic Chinese people and they go like ching chong ling long. They were basically doing that, but in Mandarin to mimic Shanghainese. And I got really pissed, but I couldn't do anything because I was scared. I was alone and I was only in like second year. So I didn't learn to be a boss ass bitch like I am now. So I couldn't stand up and like bitch slap them, but I totally would have done that today. But still, okay. So then I actually had to call my dad because I was like working on some like application where I needed info from both my mom and my dad, but my dad doesn't speak Shanghainese, so I talked to him in Mandarin, right? And then suddenly those two girls like stopped and they just looked at me and they were like, and I literally heard them say this. They were like, "Oh my God, you're laughing at her because she doesn't know Mandarin." And to be honest, like I still don't know if they were being sarcastic or not. Like did they want me to hear it or did they not? And I just felt really attacked and really sad. Very weird. And then I was just thinking like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Suddenly this turned into a rant session. Uncalled for. But I feel like a lot of Asian Americans experience something like this where there's like some like hierarchy in
within the culture itself, which is really
within the culture,
really weird and really annoying.
I know, it's super annoying.
Yeah.
Like till this day, literally just last week, some guy looked at me and they were like, "You understand Chinese?"
Oh my God.
It happens to me all the time because when let's say you're like listening to this and you don't see the images, maybe we sound like Western people. That's because we're Canadian. We sound like a Canadian. So, but then why is it so surprising that we know how to speak something else, or you know what I mean? It's just don't judge.
There's always that divide, like, oh, you can't be both.
Yeah,
you're either one.
You can't.
Yeah.
So I definitely grew up with that kind of identity crisis because I always felt like I had to fit in with one group or the other. But now I know that I am my own group and that there's people like me.
Yeah, same identity crisis.
Right?
It was that identity crisis, and then also like I grew up doing, because my parents grew up in India, so there were like some things, like I grew up watching like Bollywood movies and stuff, so it's like I relate to the Indian kids a bit, and then I relate to the Chinese kids, so it's like
in between that too.
yeah.
And then I bet like they would find it, like they would probably find it hard to like, it's just they can't wrap their little minds around the fact that
what? I'm so confused.
Yeah, it's like can't compute.
Processing too much information.
Oh, they have a breakdown. They're like their ones and zeros just suddenly jumble up and they have no idea what they're thinking. It's okay. By no means are we saying we're better than anyone. We're just saying just accept everyone. Right?
I feel like that's what mixed kids feel like too. They grow up like half of something and half of something else. They're like, there's too much culture, and then they end up having an identity crisis, and everyone else around them is like, "What are you?"
Yeah, I know,
so
right?
exotic.
It's like, stop!
So gross.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever said that to you?
No, they haven't. Oh my God, if they said that to me,
Oh my God,
I would throw up. That's gross.
dude. I know someone that said this to one of my friends, and I was like, "What?" Okay.
Yeah, I mean, some people don't even see it as an issue. Some people don't realize that it's like a bad thing to say. I mean, that's why they keep saying it, right? Like they don't think that there's anything.
They
wrong
think
with
it's a
that
compliment.
Statement. Oh yeah, I know. Gross. What the
I'm
heck?
complimenting your exotic look. Like, why are you not appreciating it? Yo, you know what happened to me like just like almost like yesterday? So I was talking to this person,
Yeah.
and then they said something in like Chinese. They said it was Chinese, and I had no idea what they were saying.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, is it like Mandarin or is it Cantonese? And then she said it was Cantonese, but clearly the second part of her phrase was Mandarin. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, I'm sorry, like I don't know what you're trying to say. And then she gave me the English definition, and it wasn't that. Okay.
Oh.
And then you know what they said to me? You must be wrong. You don't know. I'm sure you just don't know.
Huh? But they weren't Chinese?
And I was like, no, they're white.
No. Oh my god. That's
And then
worse.
I was like,
What the heck?
you know, I'm like fluent, right? Like I'm hello? What's not clicking?
It's crazy. Like, I'm just like wondering where they learned this phrase from. Like,
They learned it from another Chinese person
oh, I love
who's
that.
like almost extremely credible. Like she's like, oh my god, like he works at like the UN. But yeah, I was like, what gives you the audacity to think that you could remember this correctly? You know what I mean? Like, why can't you be like, oh, like, I don't know. Wait, is this even the topic? I bet a lot of you out there who are Asian American have heard someone say this. Ni hao. Did I say it right?
Oh, all the time.
Or
all
like,
the time.
konnichiwa. Did I say it right?
Oh my gosh.
Annyeong haseyo. Do you understand? I'm like, I'm not Korean.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. All the time. I feel for
Do you
those
get that?
people who aren't from certain like East Asian, like the popular East Asian countries,
Yes.
because they get mistaken all the time. Like, are you
Everyone
Chinese?
thinks they're Chinese.
Are you Chinese? But they're like Korean or like from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like from Thailand
Or they're like
something.
Singaporean.
Yeah.
They're Malaysian.
Mm-hmm.
They're from Laos. They're Vietnamese.
Yeah, there's
Like-
so
like
many
s-
other countries.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Because usually, I guess with us it would work, but like for other people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, should we tell about the thing? The lady.
Okay, tell it.
Okay, so Becca and I we were sitting in a room. Yeah, so Becca and I were together at that time because it was like pre-COVID, so that could happen. And then this lady just comes into this room, and then she sees us and she goes like this, like, wait, did she ask us what we were first? Oh my
asked us what
god,
we
sorry, I
were.
told the story wrong. Okay, sorry. This lady comes into the room and we just look at her, right? And then she's like, what are you guys? Is that what she said?
She was like, "Are you guys Filipino?" And we're like, "No." And she was like,
No.
"Are you guys Chinese?" And we're like, "Yeah."
Uh-huh.
And then
yeah, and she's
she
like,
was
honestly, I didn't know what to feel because I was like,
"Damn."
does she get a pass because she's Asian? Like,
yeah, I know. Like, did we just get hate crimed or what happened here?
yeah, we totally did get hate crime.
I know. And then she was saying,
But it's like, is it a hate crime if the person hating on you is also Asian?
yeah, she was like, "Haha, just kidding."
Yeah, she did say that. So, okay.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay. But it's kind of like saying, like, oh my God, your eyes are so small. I'm just
know.
kidding. They actually look really nice.
Yeah.
Like, what is that supposed to
yeah,
mean?
Yeah, exactly. Do you have other stories from growing up?
I actually, okay, so I grew up in Chinatown, actually.
Oh my
When-
gosh, you're Maylin.
Oh yeah, I was Maylin, but not based in Toronto. I was based in a different Chinatown, but it was like super close to here. And then so it was pretty cool. Like I would walk to school with my grandma, and then there was a really nice community vibe. Where we'd be
cool.
walking down the street, yeah, and my grandma would like scream at her friend who's like on the other side of the street, and then they would just like talk, and this would happen like every afternoon. Like she didn't do it much in the morning because she knew I'd be late for school, but in the afternoon, like it would take us a really long time to get home. But it was because she was like stopping at all these stores, and she knew like all the owners on the street. And then there were a lot of like Vietnamese, Chinese people there too. We had so much pho on that street.
Oh my gosh.
And then yeah, it was a really nice community too, because like they all spoke Cantonese. My grandma spoke Cantonese, and we were all just vibing. And then sometimes like these like random ladies who like knew my grandma would come up and just give me a red pocket. It was like really cute.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. So I really appreciated like the community vibe growing up in Chinatown, because it's kind of like you're like at home but not really. So you get exposure to both sides, and I really appreciated being able to learn about both cultures at the same time.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really nice community
Chinatown life.
aspect.
But I did have friends. So I actually went to a school that's kind of similar to yours. Like, it was pretty diverse in the way that you described it. Like, they were people of various ethnicities from all across the world. So we learned from like everything, like different religions and stuff like that. Yeah. But I did have friends who like went to local religious schools, and then in the city that I came from, the general population who went to those schools were not Asian. So they were more on like the Western side. So then they actually like tossed out their lunches because people would say that it smelled. And man. Like, yeah, they were like really upset. And then I even heard one of my friends say that they wished they weren't Chinese at one point. Like, I didn't experience that because honestly, like it was pretty interesting too, though, because like our schools were relatively close. Like, it was in the same area. But then the experience that we had was so different. And yeah, and I felt really bad for them because like, I don't know, it's just kind of sad when you're hating on yourself because of the people around you.
Yeah, definitely. It makes growing up really tough.
And I'm sure like a lot of Asian Americans like felt that growing up.
Yeah,
like, there's some type of like discourse in like the cultures and like ethnic and not ambiguity. What I'm trying to say is more like a identity crisis kind of.
Yeah,
because you want to fit in.
Crisis. Yeah.
And like I hear from my mom's friends too that like their children, some of them experience that too, where like they would make really good Asian food from their hometown, right? But then their kids don't want it because they get bullied. So they end up having to make like sandwiches and hamburgers and stuff like that. And I felt kind of bad for them too, because I'm sure that somewhere in there they want to pass on their cultural knowledge to their children, but having them reject it is probably pretty hurtful.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Very interesting. Like, I'm sure it's also very hard on like the parents of like immigrant children, the immigrants.
Yeah.
Like, how do I describe that?
Like first generation.
Yeah. That.
Like first generation immigrants. Yeah. Even
like just
like our parents.
It's just hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, our parents.
I mean, like I was thinking about this too, because my parents grew up in India, right, where they were also minorities there, and then like their parent, like my grandparents are also minorities. So this like minority thing has just been like passed down. It's like a intergenerational thing. So we've just been dealing with that for a very long time. In everywhere that we've been living, we've never been in a place where everyone was like us. So yeah,
which is why I'm so glad for the increase in Asian representation in media. It's because it's like it's reflecting the actual population now. It's trying to. Okay, it's trying.
Yeah.
They're putting an effort into it. And I'm glad to see that, because the world is colorful. So should our media be colorful.
Yeah.
Keep that in work.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh my God, that just reminded me of something. It's academia.
Yeah.
And leadership. I think more representation needs to be in those fields. Especially here in Canada or like North America.
Even in the corporate settings and things like that too.
I know. You look at the top and it's so bright. So bright. So reflective.
Yeah, you don't see the same diversity there compared to the bottom. Yeah,
I know. That's a very interesting concept. Like, we're being diverse. Yet there's so many barriers for diversity to actually like spread. But we do see that it is moving in a better although slow and sometimes regressive,
Yeah,
people are
definitely.
trying. Friends who even like now they struggle with like identity, and they're like, I don't know, I just like can't. Oh, I had a okay, I don't know if she watches this. She probably doesn't. But I had this one roommate who she attributed all the problems that she had in her life to the fact that her and her parents had this like cultural discourse.
What?
It was very
In
interesting.
what way?
Because she's Chinese, right? Like Asian American, and then she would be like, oh, like my parents just like don't understand me, and it's because they're so like Chinese.
Oh, interesting.
I guess she's just like one of those like the people who probably like want to reject their culture because it doesn't make them cool in the eyes of their friends or like stuff like that. Guys, we are Asian American media.
Oh yeah, that's why we started this podcast, so we can be the representation in the podcast community and in YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is fun.
exactly.
Yeah.
It is fun. It's fun to get our voices out there into the void. Oh yeah, you know, actually, an image of Simu Liu just popped into my head because he was hosting like the Juno Awards,
Yeah,
so, like
yeah,
him in
yeah.
his like fuchsia like thing. Yeah, I mean, like, let's go, Simu. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Good job out there.
What did he say again? What was his thing that he said?
Big Asian energy.
Big Asian energy.
Big Asian energy, because I went to his like basically he was there, he was like, and he paid for our movie tickets to watch Aquafina's movie, and then he was like, guys, we need to tell the world that we have big Asian energy. I'll see if I can find the video and then you can put the clip in.
Yeah.
Big Asian energy,
all about that.
peace, and then he left.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Honestly, guys, though, big Asian energy. Tell us about your immigration story. Did you immigrate? Oh, actually, I have another immigration story. Wow, I can't believe I left it until 45 minutes in.
Okay.
So I like kind of skipped over this fact that like basically my dad was already Canadian, but he was okay. So him and my mom immigrated, right? Does that make sense? They're both first generation, but he came here before my mom, so they didn't come together. So when my mom met my dad, he was already Canadian, but they were in China, you know, like, okay, yeah. So then I was born in China, but because my dad's Canadian, I was Canadian. I was born Canadian on Chinese soil, okay, which means, yeah, if you are a Canadian citizen and you are in certain countries, you need a visa. So I didn't have a visa because I plopped onto the ground of that country. Like, where am I going to get the visa? I didn't apply for it. So when I came to Canada a couple years later, they were like, why were you living abroad for this many years without a visa?
No way. Oh my God.
Yeah, because my
so
birth
funny.
certificate, like I got my citizenship like in the embassy in Shanghai, so the Canadian embassy. But they didn't issue a visa. So when we got to Canada, they were like, yo, you're
sus.
You're sus. Okay, where did this kid come from? Why did they not have a visa? Yeah, so then we had to pay money. Yeah, so basically they fined us, and then we had to pay like some money, maybe $20, which was probably, it's worth like 100 or something now. I don't know. We had to pay a fine. That's my origin story. That's how I became superhero Quilly. But not like the girls in the movie where they put chopsticks in their hair and they're like, let me show you some kung fu. Like, no, okay. Sorry, I just it's just stereotypes, you know, Asian stereotypes.
Yeah,
Just get
I
that
know,
out of
I
the
know.
way.
Yeah, we don't use
Right?
chopsticks. Okay.
Don't put chopsticks in our
We
hair.
use freaking hair ties too. God.
Yeah. We use scrunchies. Is
Yeah.
that what they're called?
Scrunchies. We use scrunchies.
Scrunchies.
Yeah.
We use scrunchies. We eat the same food. We eat a burrito.
And
no.
bagels.
Sorry.
We eat bagels. And
We eat Tim Hortons.
yeah.
Yeah, Tim Hortons. My mom has a hat that's from Tim Hortons that says double double on it. She actually does.
Vintage.
Yeah.
Vintage hat. And I didn't even know they had merch. I mean, I knew they had a Justin Bieber collab, but I didn't know they had other merch.
Oh my god, did you eat any of them? The Tim
I
Biebs?
did. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
I don't remember what they taste like now.
No, they just tasted like Timbits.
With like extra stuff on it. Sorry, Jibby.
Sorry, JB. Oh my god, tell us if you want to see a vlog of the JB concert.
We're going to it.
Yeah, and vote in the comments below if I should bring my army bomb to the Justin Bieber concert. Because he doesn't have his own light stick. What do you want me to do? Like,
just exist? We can't do that. Quilly can't do that.
No, I might bring a glow stick, but then that's not as cool because army bombs are bright.
Yeah, army bombs are cool. I want one.
Big Asian energy.
Big
oh my God,
Asian energy. I'm gonna bring one too.
Okay.
Big Asian energy at the
Big
Justin Bieber
Asian.
concert.
Yeah, let's go. And actually, I forgot to talk about my sweater. It's all coming out at the end. But look, it says here, and it means Epic High is here. And fun fact, did you know that Tableau from Epic High did school in Vancouver? He came when he was a child, and his name is actually David.
Oh.
And he went to Stanford, and he did literature at Stanford. And so technically, he's Asian American.
Yeah.
Epic High.
Epic High. One of us.
One of us. One of us. One of us. One of us.
One of us. He knows the struggle.
Right? Big Asian energy, guys.
Yeah, always remember.
Don't forget your roots. Love your roots. Love your roots. Love your culture. But also love your current you. You do you. Oh, we should have like a hand signal for BBT
Alright,
pod.
guys. And BBT out.
BBT out.
Stop. There's gonna be like 10 more tangents right now. Right after we sign out. Because that's what happens every single time.
Thank you for listening to the BBT pod.
Our music is by our friend at soundcloud.com/MIERUKO.
See y'all next time.
Bye!